Today's class is going to be one of those classes that you will want to be in. My name is Wendy Lugi, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parents Academy. Today, we are going to be talking about 10 silent prisons we build around our children and how we can release them. Have you put your child in a prison? Come closer. We need to learn to release these children, and that's why we're here today. Are you one of those that have imprisoned your children? Please share this link with a family and a friend. This is going to be one of those things, right? You will need to hear. Did I also tell you? Also, the team has decided that the fee increment for the TIP Inner Circle program starts to take effect in 48 hours. Yes, you heard me right. So 48 hours, it goes from 120 to 130, 200 to 10, and then it keeps going until it gets to the final fee. So in 48 hours, it becomes 130. Please take note so that you do not miss it. You can see it flashed right on my screen. But let's go. Are you really ready for this class? Now, I have 10 reasons that, no, actually 13. But I'm going to be sharing just a few. I'll break down a few. And of course, the rest of it happens in the inner circle, as you know already. But I'm going to be breaking down few of these prisons because it's a whole lot. Each of the prison will take a whole, a very long time for us to actually break it down. So I'm going to share with you what these 10 silent prisons are. There are more. I put it all to 10, right? And sometimes we actually call protection. What we call protection is just decorated prison. Is your child in a prison? Are you sure your child is not in a prison? We'll find out today. If you put your child in a prison and you don't even know about it, yay, my mommy is here. Yes, hello, mom. And yes, it is so good to have all of you here. I see you guys and welcome to Tuesday Life. We're here every Tuesday, 2 p.m. We don't miss it. It's a done deal. Okay? Now, number one prison is who is going to be our scribe. As we're talking about the prisons, you're going to be writing the prisons. Number one prison is the prison. All right? Somebody said today, not today, coach is wearing red. I'm not wearing red. This is orange color. You guys, are you color blind now? What is it? I am not putting on red. Number one prison is the prison of our expectations. Now, we say we want the best out of our children, but the best sometimes mean that what we have wished for ourselves, when you really think about it. They grow up chasing a lot of dreams and all of that, but let's leave it at that. Number one is the prison of expectation. That's one. Number two, I love it. Somebody is scribing for us. Number two is the prison of perfection. That's two. I'm going to take a vote. Which of the four prisons do you want me to explain further? The prison of perfection. And number three is the prison of fear that you disguise as caution. Number four is the prison of silence. The prison of silence. Number five is the prison of image. The prison of image. Number six is the prison of emotional neglect. Number seven is the prison of religious rigidity. We're coming there. Number eight is the prison of your unhealed trauma. Number nine is the prison of your busyness, your own business. And number 10 is the prison of our fear of their own freedom. Which one of the five prisons will you want us to break down today? Because we have limited time, we can't break down all of these 10 prisons. But it's going to show you something bigger than you have ever thought. All right? This is going to be, I'll just take a vote. I'm going to, put a few, just put choice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to take a few minutes and then we get the different, prisons that I want, I will want all of us to actually take a look at. And as we go, I have one, the prison of silence. I get it, okay? The prison of silence. And that will be the first one we are going to be taking. Okay, that's number one. I can see the prison of religious rigidity. Two, the prison of perfection. Three, are you taking notes? The prison of fear for our own freedom, right? The prison of silence. So that one shocked me. And then the prison of busyness. So we have five. We have, please pause and share. We have started. Yes, please pause and share. So, number one prison we're going to be talking about is the prison. Somebody mentioned, right? Am I correct? The prison of silence. The prison of silence. So, just get ready. Have you shared this with your family and friends? I want you to take a look at what it is that is going to happen here in the next few minutes. You'll be shocked at the things that you will learn. We want honest children, right? Most times. I'm breaking down the prison of silence for you. But the moment their honesty challenges our comfort, we are uncomfortable. We tell them, keep quiet. We don't shut up. So children are to be seen, not heard. So they learn very early that love and truth cannot coexist. That love and truth cannot coexist. They learn that the peace in the home is brought about with silence. I would rather keep quiet than say something so that something is going to just, happen. And then being real, they learn that it comes with a price that they can't afford. So children don't speak safely. They find unsafe places to be heard because they must be heard. Now, this is what the prison looks like. A child stops explaining themselves because it never ends well. So every time the child tries to say something, you are like, hey, keep quiet. What are you talking about? That's what the prison looks like. Number two, a teenager just smiles on the outside, but inside they are pained because you're going to judge them for every move that they make. The third kind of prison looks like your son lies so that they can just avoid punishment. So that my parents will not just know that I've made a mistake, they will rather lie. The last kind of prison, an example is your daughter opens more to people online more than they open up at home. Now, most of the times we think that, we're maintaining a circle of respect. But what we're actually doing is that we are trading connection for compliance. So our children, most of them are compliant. We grew up compliant. We grew up compliant. So everything in your head is that you want to raise an obedient child. That thing, the underlying factor to wanting to raise an obedient child actually comes from the place of the prison of silence. So when a child's voice is silent, they start to talk about it somewhere else. Now, there's a damage this prison creates. Silence doesn't build obedience, it builds distance. Most of us were just obedient in the surface. When our parents say it, you just do it, but we're distant from them. You raise them in a home where you punish them for actually being real. So they mask their own emotions to maintain peace. I don't want my mother to just go crazy. I would rather not, show any emotion. They lie easily. It's not because they are evil, but they must protect themselves. You need to protect yourself. So when you have a mother who comes home and the first thing she finds are faults everywhere, even you are actually going to start to shut down. So you walk into a home, you are looking at the things that are not done. I usually tell parents that if you are that parent who is always finding what isn't done, you put your children at risk. Now, so the truth now becomes rebellion. Authenticity now becomes impossible. They seek validation. So if you have your friend, your child, seeking validation and friendship that shouldn't be, there's a problem. You see them growing into adults who apologize for having an opinion. One of the worst things that you can do to me if you work with me is to apologize for everything. So I'm talking, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a problem. A lot of people who were imprisoned with silence actually are coming from that place where they apologize for everything. And that's the prison. That's one of the things that the prison of silence does to you. So it creates the prison of silence, raises people who will become perpetual apologists. They are constantly apologizing for what they did and what they didn't do. They are afraid. Watch it. That person was in a prison of silence for a while before they now came out of it. Now, what is even worse is that the prison of silence doesn't really end when you leave your home. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Now, how do parents build this prison? It begins very subtly. You ask your child, why did you do that? They explain to you honestly. You interrupt, correct, you shame. All right. So you come to them and say, and you know the interesting thing? Some prisons have no bars. It's just unspoken words. Unspoken words. The prison of silence doesn't end when you leave home. It follows you into adulthood. In boardroom, in friendship, in marriages, even in our ministry. You second guess every word. You apologize too quickly. It's not a good, oh, my child is always, once they do something, they just apologize immediately. There's something wrong somewhere. Even when they've not done anything wrong, just to please you, they apologize. It's a problem. They shrink themselves to make others comfortable. They are afraid of confrontation. The moment you confront them, they shrink. It's not because they are weak. They've been trained to equate disagreement with danger. So when you are in the prison of silence, you become an adult that will confuse peace with fear. So when silence is normalized in adulthood, it becomes a lifestyle. Then you begin to see every sentence with, sorry, oh, are you guilty? You edit the truth before you speak them. You smile to survive. You say, it's fine, it's fine. When it's not really fine, because as children, honesty came with punishment. They don't just fear others' reactions, they fear their own voice. Now, the loudest battles happen inside people who were never allowed to speak. Watch it. So when you actually, are telling your child that, oh, this thing you are saying, and all of that, the average Nigerian actually starts their question with, sorry, oh. Why do you think that happens? Why? The average person raised in our time want to avoid confrontation. The moment you kind of raise a voice towards whatever, they shrink because they were taught that the moment you as a parent raises a voice, they shut up. And that's the end. They've been raised in the prison of silence. You tell them, talk to me, but your face tightens when they do. You ask for the truth, but you can't handle the truth. And you can't handle the discomfort of hearing the truth. Of course, they stop talking to you. Not because they don't love you, but because they've learned to handle their own truth themselves. You can't heal what your child can't say. You can't deal with what your child cannot say. And most times, we actually think that these things are okay. Go to many offices. Now, if you go to a lot of offices, you'll be shocked that the number of women who apologize on a daily basis is something else. I remember having a staff come in, and I said to her, the next time you apologize, I'll walk you out of my office. What are you apologizing for? If I say to you, you've done something wrong, please, I don't need an apology. You think I'm sick or I'm so absorbed in myself that what you want to be giving me an apology, I want result. I don't want apology. Now, it is because this person is coming from a place where apology was the only way to survive. Oh, I've done something. Let me quickly say sorry. And the moment I say sorry to you, everything just ends. That's how you are. That's how most of your children are. That's how they react. So the moment you just say, you should not even say sorry, that's your focus. So they grow up into adults who believe that saying sorry covers everything. Unfortunately, these same adults are never able to dig deep into anything and be able to actually come up with something about it. So it is beyond allowing your children to speak up, by the way. No, it's not about allowing your children to speak up. If you're a parent who projects obedience bigger than anything, you will become this parent. Your children will be in this prison. Your children can speak up and yet be in prison. Oh, I've seen it. They be in prison of your self-absorption, of trying to be in that place where, they must come. I say some parents, I say, they must come and apologize to me. Whether they mean it or they don't. So it's very important that you actually begin to watch this. What do you do instead? When your child speaks the truth, you need to pause. Don't rush to correct. Every single one of us have that problem, including myself. Rushing to correct. Recently, my daughter did something. And I was on the phone with her. And then her dad had given her an instruction. She was supposed to do so, and so. And then she didn't carry out. And she said to me, "Oh, I didn't do it." I didn't start correcting. I just listened. In that moment, what I wanted to do was to say, "Ife, this minute, just do it." We're a preacher of taking instruction. But I also understand that there has to be a place where I will need to hear. What am I hearing? No, safety does not mean they can say anything anyhow. Please, don't get me wrong. It means that they can say everything respectfully. She respectfully declined to do the thing. She said, "No, it's because," and we still insisted she does what she needed to do. But nobody raised the voice. My husband still went back and said, "You know what? I heard that this is what it says that, but I am insisting for so and so reason. You don't need to raise a voice. Sometimes, even in your correction, you might be putting your child in prison. You need to be able to watch interruptions. Many times we interrupt too quickly, right? Validation doesn't mean disagreement. It doesn't mean agreement. It means acknowledgement. All right? One of the things you must understand is that your children are not looking for you to actually be perfect. They're looking for you to be human. Most times we're not human. We're not. So you must be able to actually apologize when you overreact. Now, children who grow up in homes where they can speak, they're not boxed up. Now, again, like I said, it does not mean your children have a level of crassness. They can open their mouth and just tell you anything. No, it means they're not in prison of their own selves. And when you put a child in prison, when you put a child in prison, they live forever struggling in that prison, except a journey unlocks it, except you are in a process that unlocks it. I've worked with parents for years, almost a decade, and I see a lot of parents who are in prison of silence. You just say, "No, no, no, no. I'm a background person. I don't want all of that." It's a problem. It's not, there's something wrong somewhere. When you begin to say, "No, I'm a background person. This guy, I don't need to be seen. Yeah, I'm just shy." Most people were raised and they become shy, were raised in the spirit of silence. So if you have a child and you're constantly saying, "My child is just shy," your child is in the prison of silence. Let's go. There's a second one that someone chose. Let me see what it was. Let's talk about it. The prison of busyness. Yes, even in correction, you can imprison your child. You need to be careful. Let's talk about the prison of busyness. I think that's one of the ones that was chosen. Am I correct? The prison of busyness. Number 2 is painfully too relevant in today's world because we have highly achieving parents. And the truth of the matter is that this is not a topic to accuse, it's a topic to awaken. So we need to actually begin to look at it. You need to be able to know that this is very important. Thank you, Dr. Happiness, for sharing that. Now, we're raising children in homes full of activity, but there's an emptiness of attention that happened in that home. Now, the prison of busyness, not business, busyness, busyness, you are busy. We say, oh, I'm doing it all for you. But the truth is, in trying to give them everything, you take away that one thing they actually crave most, which is us. So in your prison of busyness, your children are imprisoned from what it is that they can get. You are not in prison, but they are in prison of your business. Now, let's look at what this prison looks like. A parent that is rushing from meeting to meeting, you never meet eyes with your child. Boom, you are off. Boom. The mom who scrolls through her phone every time beside her child and calls it being together. That's the prison of busyness. The dad who is always providing comfort. Oh, you do everything. I shared a post on my Facebook this morning, and I talked about the dad who provides everything, but there's no conversation. Most of us have that kind of father. So recently, I shared something on my social media handle. I saw this trending, post about a father who was very, very, active. He did everything according to the child. I said, my father didn't know where we schooled, but it was okay because my father was doing every other thing, and we appreciate him for that. And, she said we still were okay because my mom covered up, made everything, and then we still became okay. No, are we saying that spouses should not cover up for spouses? No, that's what we're saying. We're saying that as a father, as an individual, we must come to a place where we understand what absentee fatherhood has done to us. We are living like it's normal. We call it normalized nonsense in the inner circle. So it's now normal for fathers to be absent. Yeah. And and yes, you have that after everything I've done for you. That's an emotional blackmail. Now, I wrote in that place, I said, this is how something that is so abnormal have become so normal in parenting that we are now okay saying that a father not being there, it's not a problem. And you know what is sad? This same person will replicate this thing without thinking that it was wrong. I found myself somewhere now having conversation with somebody sometime over the weekend. And the person said, oh, my husband lives somewhere else. I live somewhere else. It's not really a big deal. We've done this since we got married. And I asked her one question. I said, how did you grow up? Just tell me a bit. She said, oh, my parents actually, incidentally, that's what she said. Incidentally, my parents lived apart all through my life. I said, that's it. So she can't relate. When you tell her that this has affected, and she said to me, it didn't affect me. I turned out okay. That's what you think, that you were not affected. Now, it's a prison. See, we build houses with stuff, and there is a connection that is actually doubting. Business feels productive, but in parenting, it's a distraction for presence. Now, that this prison creates is that you have raised children in the shadow of business. They stop asking to be seen. They start performing to be noticed. Have you seen those children? Every time your father is around, there's a performance you want to do for your father to know that, you're doing it. You're doing it and you're working it through. All right? So they learn to self-soothe because you're so busy. They learn to self-soothe themselves with different kind of things. Different kind of things. So you find out that your child is always on the screen. Many times when people say, my children have been watching porn, the act of watching porn is bigger than watching porn itself. There is something more that happens before that happens. And there is a pattern I have seen. Huge pattern. The lack of connection. The lack of presence. The lack of intentionality. Same pattern. Same pattern. Every child who watches porn is feeling a void. Put me anywhere. There's a void that is happening in them that they need to feel. So that comes to that space and he just feels it. So it's bigger than he just got and just started watching. Yeah, because it's addictive, you get stuck in it. So there's a void a child always want to feel with your business. There's a sacrifice to make. They confuse attention with approval. Now, when you starve your children with presents, they confuse that attention with approval. Always trying to earn love that presents would have given freely. So anytime somebody just gives them small attention, they approve of it. Watch the girls whose fathers are never in the picture. Before you know it, they are up there. Well, because if you cannot get the attention of a father, you will build the attraction of a man, because you need it to survive as a girl. Let me say that again. If you can't get the attention of a father, you will build the attraction of a man, because you need it. You need it to survive. So your child who is 8, I've already started building an attraction if you're not there, because that's how the brain is created for the girl child. And that's a key aspect. So they will confuse that attention, for approval. And I said earlier, they learn to self-suit. They self-suit with screen, with snacks, with social media. A lot of our children eat unendingly. Is a gap. Is a gap. Where your child is constantly eating. No, it's not about you having money. It's bigger than that. So when it comes to the prison of busyness, you are doing more harm to your child than you can imagine. So your child will begin to take that thing and then they grow up into adults who fear stillness because they were never loved in stillness. So because the child you're too busy to connect with today will one day be too distant to confide in you today. And many times there's something that happens to the child. The child when you watch an overeating problem, go and find out. There's a connection problem with parenting. Anytime, any day. When you see addiction problem, go and find out. There's a disconnection with parents anytime, any day, or even primary caregivers. So addiction thrives in those space all the time. Addiction thrives in those space. So busyness often hides in something even more deeper. Busyness hides in guilt, in fear, and in pressure to prove that you're doing well. So you chase success because you were raised to believe that provision is equal to parenting. But children don't remember how expensive their childhood was. They remember how present you are. So your presence is the only inheritance that cannot be stolen nor spent. Let me say that again. Your presence as a parent is the only inheritance that cannot be stolen or spent. But are you really ready to hear it? Are you really ready to hear that it's not just careless parenting that is the problem? It is also you being there. It is also you being there. Because you can actually, and I don't mean you being there, we just been there. No. I am talking about you being there with tools. Most of us are there, but our children are still in prison. The prison of business is noble outside. Career, ministers, survivors, success. I know many children of the ministers of the Gospels, big men of the Gospels, till tomorrow. And I tell you, on the inside, there was something that dangerously was bred. Emotional distance. Any child that you constantly told, I'm busy, we'll talk later, they will stop trying to talk. They stop asking, they stop sharing, they stop reaching out because it's really not a big deal anymore. They've learned that love only shows up when it's convenient. When a child can't find time in your day, they will find space in someone else's world. You're doing more harm than you can imagine. They grow up into adults, who do not understand a lot of things. Overeating is really about hunger. Addiction is really about pressure. At the root of both overeating and addiction, they are usually disconnected. Every time you see a child drowning in screen, a teenager drowning in substance, an adult drowning in performance, somewhere there's a wound that is called unattended childhood. Many of us actually have unattended childhood. Our childhood was not attended to. So your presence is an inheritance that cannot be stolen. Are you ready to give your child that inheritance? Now, what do? Turn your moments into memories. You don't need a vacation to connect with your child. You don't need to stop working to connect with your child. You need intentionality. And that's why the inner circle is there. That's what it is. In fact, if you're a busy parent, you need the inner circle the most. Children don't need more toys, they need more time together. All they need to do is for you to find, even if it's 1 minute. Do you know? I think my children give excuses for us for not being able to be there. But they say something like, I know that if my mother is actually, in fact, she will, I know that my mom will go up and above. So a few days ago, my husband had to drive all the way to their school to go and drop something, because of our son that broke his leg. And and I was thinking of it. It was easy to actually say, I just can't. It's in small, small moments. Do you know I don't remember the things that my parents have bought? But I remember the kind of place that happened in my home growing up. You need to build what I call unstructured presence. When nothing is planned, just being there, walk, talk, sit, listen, silence. You can share silence intentionally. Oh, you can. You can. You need to become uninterruptible. Some of us are uninterruptible. Once you start to do that work, your children walks into the room, you're like, go, 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 I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. You are uninterruptible. If you are uninterruptible, you are wrong. When your child walks into the room, if you just pause and look up and say, oh, wow, yeah, come and sit with me here, you find out that in the next 2-3 minutes, the child is off to their playroom. So they are not really looking to sometimes just come and bug you like you think. They're just trying to check you day. That's what they call you day in my house. So sometimes our daughter will just say, Daddy, Daddy. And then my husband answers, yes, yes. She's not looking for anything. She's not asking for anything. She's just saying, Daddy, you day. Can your children call you 10 times and you don't get irritated? Because you're so busy. You put them in a prison. You need to actually audit your schedule. Ask yourself, am I raising my child or am I just managing them? I want you to put it in the comment section. Am I raising my child or am I just managing them? This question will turn everything around. If you actually are able to answer this question, you won't doubt about being in the parenting academy. It changes everything about your structure. Audit your schedule. Your schedule, we call it in the inner circle, giving your children the crumbs of your parenting. And crumbs cannot actually change a child. Crumbs cannot change a child. I see quite a number of us trying to parent in the place of crumbs. And many times I see our children struggle. Our children struggle with everything because we have given them the crumbs of our time. And crumbs, when the widow of the Canaanite woman came to Jesus and said, Jesus, I want to heal my child. And Jesus said, crumbs are not for, they are not for people on the table, right? That I don't have anything to give you on the table. You are not a child. You don't have space on the table. The woman said, even with crumbs, I will be fine. But there's something about crumbs. There is something about crumbs. Crumbs cannot deliver to you the things, the wholesomeness that you need in your child. That's the truth. And many of the times, we are raising our children, we are managing them. We're not raising them. And we're managing them with a lot of our crumbs. The crumbs of our time, the crumbs of school. So, did you know that school can be a crumb? Oh, yes. Because many of the times, you are actually saying to your child, this guy, you're just there. You're just there. You can't outsource discipleship. You cannot delegate legacy. You're a gatekeeper, a watchman, a kingdom parent. And the truth of the matter is that you are not raising crumb collectors. And kings don't eat crumbs. That's why that Bible verse, he told that woman, he said, we don't do crumbs, we build legacies. He told that woman, see, it is for the people that are outside. Crumbs are remnant. Crumbs are remnant. When that's what's left over after others has feasted. They are not the portion of kings. They are for servants. They are for servants. They are for outsiders. They are for those who have no claim on the table. That's why Jesus answered, it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. She said it, yes, Lord. Yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall at their master's table. If you're giving your child the crumbs of your time, you are raising a dog. Go and read the scriptures for understanding. Matthew 15, 26 to 27. And children's bread means fullness of the blessing. And dogs means, crumbs, the leftovers. The mercy that trickles down beyond Israel. That's what he was trying to say. Crumbs is just enough. Mediocrity, the barest minimum that we settle in our families. Bread is the full inheritance of the presence. And so many of us have become comfortable with crumbs. We're not dogs, we're children. But children are not dogs, they're children. They're invited to dine at the table of abundance. So yet you say things like, at least I'm there now. Like you don't deserve deep connection and joy. At least we're still together. I think God designed your marriage or your parenting for you just to survive. Crumbs make you settle. They blind you to thy function. They silence your hunger for more. So as we're talking about inner circle, you're like, which inner circle? I beg. All these things that they're even saying. I got it off figured out. Am I going to leave my job? Am I going to? That's what crumbs do to you. They blind you to thy function. They keep you glued to the ground because the crumbs is on the floor. It's not on the table. I wish you can understand what I'm saying. And while you are busy adjusting to pain, the enemy is plotting that collapse. The enemy is plotting it. The enemy is plotting it. So crumbs will keep you in a place. Crumbs will keep you in a place. Actually, there are different kinds of crumbs, and it is a conversation that I usually have with yadas, strong conversations that we talk about and all of that. And it's something that that I share in the inner circle. But you know the truth of the matter is that we are constantly in that place where we will rather take crumbs. God prepares tables, he does not prepare crumbs. He invites us to sit, not to beg, to partake, not to pick leftover. So when you settle for crumbs in your journey as a person, and then of course, that's what it is. You can't be accepting what is less. They keep you glued to the ground. So as we're talking about inner circle now, you will be like, crumbs will never give you a seat on the table. That's what you will raise. Okay, children, barest minimum. And you know the interesting thing? Crumbs may keep you alive, but they never give you access. So your children are alive. They are okay, but they don't have access to you because you're giving them the crumbs of your life. Your job has access. That's why when you're coming back from work, you are exhausted. You have given your all to workspace. So when you get home, what is left is the crumbs of your time. Crumbs will keep you beneath the table, never seated on the table. Never. Because that's where you pick them from. They are what you get when you've convinced yourself that You're not created to eat from that. You are just created to just pick up anything. That's what that woman said. That woman said, crumbs don't nourish destiny. They don't. They don't give birth to visions. In that place of being able to deliver if you don't deliver bread, your children cannot access destiny. That's why most of us were raised. Most of us were raised on the crumbs of the time that our children have access to. And you know the truth, when we now became adults, we're all looking for where we are coming from. We're looking for our destiny. We're looking for our purpose. We're looking for what is not lost. It is because we were raised on crumbs. Crumbs does not have the ability to nourish destiny. Crumbs don't have the ability to birth vision. Crumbs don't have the ability to crown sons and daughters at the table. That woman started with crumbs. But even that, she said, I will push because crumbs can sustain, but only the table can empower you. That's the truth. And you can't walk in purpose while you're crawling under the table. How do you want to do it? So your children have become crawlers under the table. You either rise or you remain. You either sit or you settle. You need to choose. Don't settle for what fails. Go for what has been prepared. Now, if you're settling for what is falling on the table, that means that's what you're settling for. Are you settling for what is on the table? Children spend 5 years in a year in a formal Bible teaching. Let me break it down for you. You can't leave your spiritual upbringing of your child somewhere and 1 hour a day, 2 hours a week. That's 96 days. Everything approximately 4 days, approximately in a year. Approximately 4 days. So the conversation in parenting is not about right and wrong. It's not about right and wrong. It's about you being able to settle or not. A crump mentality is that at least I'm around now. Is it not being present? You can't build a strong family with a crumbs mentality. You can't raise whole children and build deep connections and thrive on scraps. You can't. You can't. You can't. Nobody builds a strong family on leftovers. Never happen. Leftover love, leftover attention, leftover food, leftover. They are built when you bring your full self at the table. Healed, whole, intentional, and present. Crumbs can make your family functional. That's what most of us have. Functional family. But they never help you to flourish. Never. So stop showing up halfway and you call it sacrifice. Stop normalizing dysfunction and you call it survival. You need to stop building with crumbs and expecting castles. Because the table is already prepared. But you have to believe your family deserves more than a crumb. More than a crumb. Do your family really deserve more than crumbs? I don't know who needed to hear that, but it's a message for you. And I hope that you've been able to take it in, because I don't know why I needed to digress to actually teach this. But please take it in, and that's where it is in the place of, crumbs. Please get into the inner circle so that you can learn how you can build from the place of fullness, of wholeness. I've said before that if you raise a child and they wake up and they are looking for purpose and they are looking for their destiny, they can't fulfill destiny, parenting failed. It's failed parenting. It's not okay. Your job when you are done raising the child, go and read the scriptures. Everybody who was raised, placed in a place, found their purpose as they are being raised. So if your child is confused, most of us are confused in our 40s, looking for purpose. Purpose is not lost. But why we are looking for it is because somebody who was supposed to sit at the table and get you to sit there allowed you to pick from under the table. That's why. He allowed you to speak from under the table. So that is number 2 prison. I don't even know if we have time to actually talk about all of the other prisons, but we're going to try. All right. Even if it's just a few that we're able to talk about, is still very okay. Let's talk about, let's, are we really ready for this? Are we ready for this? Okay, yes, and the God is here. Your job is to raise your children in such a way that they will find their purpose. That's your goal. That's your goal. If your children can't, then you failed. Then you failed. Did you invite someone here today? Did you invite someone here today? Let's talk about Which other one did we say we're talking about? Which other one was picked? Hmm. Which other one was picked? I wish I can teach all of this to you, but get into the inner circle. I'm teaching you just a 1% of the 1% of the curriculum. All right. Part of what we're teaching on Thursday in the inner circle includes a bit of this. All right. Religious rigidity. Yes, somebody actually talked about that. That's the next one we should talk about. The prison of religious rigidity. The prison of religious rigidity. If you are listening to me, you can follow me, you can hear me, put the fire emojis. If this is one of those classes that is hitting you and hitting you hard, I love it. All right. That's part of it. So that we can learn and stop, putting a lot of, like I say, things that are just, normal. Now, this particular religious rigidity touches on core spiritual parenting. Now, a lot of the times you find out that we teach our children to fear God, but we don't teach them to know God. I will explain. Because that's something that we struggle with. Our children are taught how to fear God, which is not a bad thing, but we don't teach them who God is. They don't know our God. The Bible says, those that know their God shall do exploits. So the fear of the Lord, right, will give you another thing. But the knowledge of God is what gives you access to exploits. If you can't do exploits or you're not doing exploits, it is in the lack of the knowledge. It's not in the fear. All right? Now, we make our children to memorize scriptures. Please don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with that. But the truth is that we don't teach them how they can meet God in those scriptures. We train them to follow rules, but we don't teach them how they can experience relationship. So they serve out of guilt, not gratitude. They serve out of what they can get. Not they can get. So they don't even know who God is. So they begin to struggle. They begin to associate God with control, no connection. So they finally get freedom. They walk away. Why is it that our children, most of our children are walking out away from whatever religion we've sold to them? It means that we haven't really sold relationship. You don't walk away from a relationship like that. But because they don't have a relationship, it's just like freedom, master servant relationship. That's the way some of us see God. And then let me tell you something a bit. The way you relate with your father is the way you're going to relate with your God, except you reframe that thing in your head. So your relationship with your father is how you see God. It doesn't matter who you are in Christendom until you reframe that process. Yeah. If you had an absent father, your relationship with God is going to be skewed except you have worked on it. So your children associate God, God becomes a subject instead of a relationship. Once they graduate, their faith dies. So the child just learn how to act holy, learn how to dress responsibly, learn how to teach right, but never learn how to walk with God when no one is watching. You see, religious rigidity builds spiritual robots, not rooted believers. So you just have people just go to church, come back, they don't know who God is really. There are rituals, but there are no reasons. There are rules, but not the redeemer. They are not redeemed. So one day they will outgrow the fear that kept them compliant. Just like they outgrow the fear that kept them compliant from you. Remember that when we were growing up, at some point, when your father now talks, you talk back because you now started working. When they say, "Why did you do this?" Say, no, please, daddy, Peggy. What was that? You just think somewhere that you have gotten freedom. And if that was a relationship you had with your father, believe you me, that's how you think of God somewhere in your head. That's why you give God mandates, conditions. Even when you have grown up, you have started, you see a relationship with God according to you. You're praying, you say, if you don't do this thing in 2 weeks, God, you must do it. You give him order, you give him conditions because you think you are out of that fear in oath. So you have grown that fear and compliance. You don't discover the love that would have kept you close. It may actually control your child's behavior, it does, but only love can shape their heart. Now, when they grow up to become adults, they grow up confused. Some of you believe that God is hard to please. Some of you believe that mistakes make you unworthy. Some of you believe that you need to be perfect. Every time you play, you need to be apologizing to God every minute. Do you know that some people, once they start to pray, oh God, forgive me my sin, forgive me my sin, that's the focus. You know why? You were raised in the prison of silence. So you think that every authority figure, it's all about apologizing to build a relationship with them. There's no relationship. Teach your children why they need to pray. Are we saying you should not ask for forgiveness? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that let there be an understanding. And you apologizing to God, it's not because you love God, though. It's because you fear that he's angry. So you do something bad. You guys say, oh Lord, forgive me, forgive me. You are just afraid that God is angry and they are going to cut off all the things we have committed. Yes, knowingly and unknowingly. That's how you start all your prayer. You are not nice. You know, you pray in fear. Hey, all the things you have committed, knowingly and unknowingly, I don't even know the one I've done. And then you keep emphasizing there is no relationship. That's how you grow up with your father. Then they hide your struggles. You hide your struggles from God. Because you were raised to perform, not to be real. You sit in church, you're smiling, but you can't really come to God and say, this is what has happened. You don't hide because that's what you have learned. You don't build a relationship. You were taught to hide from him. How do you hide from God? Very interesting something to actually behold. You are imprisoned. Some people came to me, I remember when they came into the inner circle, you felt that the only time to pray is morning. When you don't pray in morning devotion, God will be angry with me when I don't go out. Because there's a rigidity. God is asking for a relationship in every detail. In your work, in being able to listen. Prayer is communication with God. And if you understand it, it means that you're praying all the time. You're creating time. You are excited to create time to actually sit with God. It's not that when you just carry your Bible, you say, Father, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Holy Spirit, come and help me, come and help me. And then you now open the Bible. In your time, I said, you know that when you just God abhors sin, anytime that you want to, but there's no relationship. God is just looking at you and just wondering, what's wrong with this person? It's just rigidity. God wanted the relationship with the children of Israel. That's why he kept, coming close. Do you know that at the time, the children of Israel said, this person that is talking to you, we can't listen to him. Do you know why they couldn't listen to him? There was no relationship. They said, please, it's too hard. It's too hard. It's too, I beg, just let him tell you, then you can come to us. Can come to us. And that was one of the things that happened to us. So most of us are in prison of religion. Prison. Serious prison. We were put in prison by the people that have raised us. We were taught who God was not. And because of their model of parenting, we also saw God. None of us actually believe that God can do the things that we say he can do. That's why we get shocked when there is a transformational testimony. Somebody said, did you see where it is that you're going to be? The inner circle is going to be like this. I said, I saw it. I knew that God was able. I'm not shocked. I would have been shocked that it's not happening because I understand who he is. He's a different thing. Sometimes we are not filled with gratitude. We are filled with shock of what God can do. We are filled with more shock than gratitude. We are. Am I saying that you should not worship God? No. I am a believer of indoctrination. I'm a believer of religion. But I have a problem with raising children who actually would go on not having relationships with God. So you can't even know how God processes your relationship. So you can't say that why most of us cannot hear God is that we don't have a relationship with Him. And hearing God is a valid skill in the 21st century. And how do you even begin to not be in that prison? It's by your children watching you. I remember one time something happened in our home, and our son said, "Your God is good to you. Your God, your God, your God." It means that they can connect. They can connect. You must take yourself out of that prison. The first day that I said that I don't do, when a church head, and I had to actually take myself out of a certain, role in church because of my season of life. A lot of people got delivered from it. Why? Because most of us are in prison. Prison of a particular time to pray. Prison of a particular time. We're in prison, serious prison. How do you break it? You need to begin to teach your children about relationship. Teach your children why before what? Teach your children why before. Why do we pray? Why do we forgive? Let them be able to see God as someone who listens, not just someone who lists rules. Make it look as if God is one wicked father somewhere who is just listing rules. Model intimacy. Stop modeling performance. Let your children see you talk to God like a friend. Let them hear you. Be vulnerable to God. That's what there was the difference between David and Saul. David was a very vulnerable child of God. David will come and say, "This is me, all of me, all of me." Sometimes you tell God half, you don't tell him half. All right, let them hear you. Welcome their questions. Right? Curiosity is not rebellion. Stop thinking that your child is rebelling. It's not rebellion. When a child asks, why does God allow pain? Stop telling your children that, you even model the God of give me, give me. That's what you model. The God of things. All your prayer is filled. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, give me car, give me house, give me. What kind of prayer is that really? I will stop here. This is not in a second webinar. Stop using God. Stop using God as a threat. If you lie, God will punish you. Creating fear is not reverence. You even quote Bible. You see what he did to Ananias and Sapphira. Hey, once they lied, they just died. That's not you teaching them about God. That's just you creating threats. If you lie, no. The goal of parenting is not to not to raise people that are just religious. It's to raise people that are connected to God, people who know God for themselves. Your child's first experience of God is you. If your love feels conditional, they will believe that God's love is also conditional. So don't raise children who fear God only. Raise children who can feel safe with God also. Because that's what keeps them. That's what keeps them. If your child rules religion to find God, they need to actually be able to find who God is for themselves. And if they don't, they struggle. It's very important. The truth of the matter is that most of our children, even those of us who are pastors and ministers, most of our children don't know who God is. They don't know God for themselves. We know God for them. They don't know the God. They don't know your God. We need to pray in the name of your God, have you? That's how we pray the name of God. The God. You listen to the Bible, you see them say that the Jacob was praying in the name of the God of his fathers. Can your children say the God of your fathers has been so kind? Thank you so much, Apostle. It was a moment of feedback. They gave us opportunity to put things in the right track. Go back and ask your children, do they really know God? Or they're just performing? About conversations, about a lot of things. Your marriage is modeling God. Your parenting is modeling God. You say, that, there are fruit of the Spirit, joy, peace, gentleness, but your parenting doesn't model it. You are a Margaret Thatcher. You are the Hitler. Meanwhile, you stand on the pulpit and you preach. But you can connect between the gentleness of the Holy Spirit as a gift, and you have the gift of the Holy Spirit, and the person who is teaching outside. So our children see us as being hypocritical, especially when it comes to what we do in our religious lives. There's a hypocrisy that happens. It's that hypocrisy we will need to actually deal with. Is your child learning how to know God, or they are in the prison? They are in the prison of religion. Most of the times, they're just in prison. They don't know who they are. There are, I've only been able to share 3 prisons, and this is where I'm going to stop. On Thursday, I'm going to share the remaining parts of this prison, of course, in our Thursday webinar in the inner circle. And I will be able to actually flesh it out. Somebody said, when is this inner circle starting? It's starting on the 1st of December. And if you're not in, please jump in. You will be parenting on crumbs, thinking you are doing what is right, until your children are actually seated on that table and they can access the table. There's an access at the table they cannot get if they are under the table. Because bread is only for people who are seated at the table. Are your children in prison just by you being their parent? That might be the case. But you can actually unlock that prison and get them out of that prison. Unfortunately, I might not be able to share with you all of the other prisons and how you can unlock them and all of that. But workers meeting on Thursday, please come. Yes, come with your yellow blanket and with red trimmings. You know that one that has red trimmings, not just the yellow blanket, the one that when you wear it, when you cover it, the red trimming will be dripping. Yes, that is what it is that we're talking about. So I'm going to, talk about it in that webinar of raising kings and those who sit at the table with kings. That's what it is. You can't raise slaves, right? You can't raise kings with a template of slaves. Oh no, you can't. You can't. You can't. That's very important. And if you have not been onboarded to join the inner circle, this is your time. We have a 48 hours. This is happening in 48 hours. The team just came up with it, and we are, putting that together in 48 hours. You will need to join. If not, in that 48 hours, the prices change. All right. If you have already booked your slot, complete your payment so that you can join and get onboarded. The 2026 Inner Circle curriculum is out of the world. You don't want to miss it. Trust me when I say so. It is something you do not want to miss. The curriculums are a whole lot different from what it used to be. All right? That said, have you been able to pre-order our upcoming book? If you have not, pre-order ends when? Team? Huh? 31st October. How many days to go? It's just about 15 days to go for pre-order. The book moves from 48 to 60,000, and you get all of these 6 books. All right, available. We got samples of the new books today. We're working on it. I'm sure that in a few weeks, we're going to have all the books right in the hub. Please, the book launch is going to be launched on the 1st of November. That's the release date. We're going to launch it, online on the 3rd of November, but the release date is the 1st of November. Please note that is when we'll start dispatching your books, putting it, everywhere for you to actually be able to get it. I have quite a number of people who are asking, oh, I paid, I've not gotten my books. Please note, we have sent conversations on the group book, the flash group, groups and all of that. You're the only one outside. There are over 20,000 copies of this book sold, right? As at the last count, I think we have about 22,000 or so. So people are taking their parenting seriously, right? And yes, have you seen you can also buy the books that are already available, launched. These are the raising series: raising the independent thinking child, raising the emotionally skilled child, raising the boy you don't need to bail out, raising the girl with sense, and raising the trophy child. You can also start your parenting with the discipline series, right? I would advise that. Connect to correct. Discipline is not an emergency. Discipline that works from yelling to calm. And of course, we have the series that come with of course, this is one that is on it, and we're having one other join it too. Yes, the camp parenting framework and the parenting reset. Okay, and then we have the others, right? There are different books that I have written. Your family plan for godly dating and courtship in marriage. All right, the parenting launch plan, solving family problems through effective communication, resolving sibling rivalry, and of course, how to love your child more. And you have the sex conversation book, the sex educate book. If you're having issues with sex conversations, you have sex educate. 1, 2, 3, 4 can grow, and then walking your child through puberty. You can get hard copies by just using the link in the comment or in the description of this video. Remember that you can still pre-order my 4 upcoming book, Parenting Lessons from the Bible. This story about the Canaanite woman, you know, find even more interesting story of what to learn from my parenting stories from the Bible. Amazing. It doesn't sound, it's not anything religious, right? It is something, whether you're a Muslim or a Christian, you will be able to learn and pick up a lot from it. The parenting reset, you know, how to start over, even if you've made mistakes. So if you are afraid, all right, that you are actually, you know, I'm going to, you've missed a lot, you're listening to me now, there is solution. You can actually start over. Then raising a long life learner. I love this book a lot because I think that most of us were raised to be a just a learner for secondary school and university. A long life learner. And then we're having Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pope Volume 5. We're having the Camp Parenting Framework. This was the last of the books that I finished in the series. It was so amazing to write that book. And then Raising the Social Genius. Oh, I'm sure Yadas would love this, Raising the Social Genius. Trust me, the Raising series are given anytime, any day. So get your book. These are tools. They are tools. And I love how Florida said it. Florida said we are planning to pay for 2027. If you haven't booked yet, please remember that this is going off. Before I go, remember that we're having the TIP Summit United Kingdom on the 25th of October. Will Coach be coming? Yes, I will be live in United Kingdom, right? I was there last year. I'm going to be there this year with Golf, my husband, and Coach Ebuka, the very first son of the prophet. We will be live in the UK, right? It's just a few days, 11 days to go. And we're live at that summit. If you have not registered, register to be there. There's a feeling of the physical effect that turns everything around. You heard Christian Aluforo this morning. There's a feeling of that physical effect that turns everything around. If you're not a Yada yet, why not? Join this offer in 48 hours. It's also this is going to increase until that gets to the 150. So in 48 hours, you have 130. So this is going, gone. All right. Don't miss it. Be part of it. The couple slot you add 10,000. It's also okay if you pay us the extra 10K. We'll be very, very glad to receive it. We have a lot to do. All right. See you in the UK. Yes, see Coach Ebuka in the building. Coach Ebuka is the founder of the Boys Leadership Academy with Coach Ruth, his dear wife. Take your sons so that they can also get immersed in mentorship. That's a key aspect of your journey as well. Are you ready to actually join me at the upcoming Thursday webinar for Yadas? You guys don't want to miss it. If you're an incoming Yada, let me see you in the comment section. Say incoming. Incoming. I'm not talking about all the Yadas that are returning. No. Returning Yadas, just keep your cool. You guys are a lot. You guys are a multitude. Incoming. Multitude of Yadas. Please stay away. Just if you are an incoming, it's your first time being in the yard and you're just coming in, just put incoming in the comment section. I see you, Stella, right? Dr. Happiness, are you taking note of our incoming Yadas so that you can actually give them some warm welcome? I see you, Esther. I see you, Enumba. Come on now. I see you, Choma. I see you, Praise Stoppers. I see you, Maduka. I see you, Barry Kuma. I've met Barry Kuma, engineer Barry Kuma. Am I correct? Yes, I have. You know, I've already started saying, reach out to me. I want to connect with you. That's one of the things that I love to do, all right, with the others. I see you, Tolulope. There are a multitude. Come on now. I see you, Patient. I see you, Chisom. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Diodas that show out and show off and show out. That's how we do it. To Happiness, take record. We need welcome party, right? And yes, the new Yadas are going to join our party this year. We're giving them access to our party this year. Of course, you always join end of year party because you will be in the yard. Incoming, Sammy, I can't stay away. Incoming, Oluchi, I see you guys. Ego says, it's my first time here. You need to come into the yard. It's going to change your life. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an awesome time. Now, all the others, welcome our incoming Yadas. That's now your job. Don't come and say incoming because they are not incoming, right? Just welcome them. Easy, I see you. It's so good to have all of you here. And Tommy, I see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for trusting. And if you are yet to join, if you're yet to join, just put in the comment section yet to. Yet to. Let me see how many people that we have on this stream who are yet to join. Let's do some interesting exercise. Yet to, yet. Let's see if we are reaching the non-yarders at all. Yet to, yet to, yet to, yet to. And if you're that person, let's see you. Let's see you. Don't be at the back. We don't stay at the back in this place. It's the cathedral. Everybody is in front. All right. Welcome to the yard. We can't wait to have you on the 1st of December. Right? Somebody say, I pity family hub. If I enter there soon, or possibly fine, we're in trouble. Sarah says yet to. Sarah, the details is on the screen for you to actually get into the inner circle. We look forward to having you in the yard. All right. Who else is yet to? You're welcome to the Harvard of Parenting. Yup, you are welcome to the Harvard of Parenting. That's what happens here. What you will see, Mr. Moses Okechukwu says incoming. Correct. What you will see and hear in the yard will shock you to your bone marrows. You don't want to miss the yard. Trust me when I say so. Yet to. Kenji, all the details are right on my screen. This is where I actually call it a day. All right, for all the people who have written yet to, I'm sure the team is going to respond to you after this session and give you the details, and you will be able to get in. Thank you again for joining me today. I see you again by 8 o'clock every day. Yet tomorrow we'll see at 8 o'clock, sharing on my intentional parenting journey. My goodness, who caught a replay of my intentional parenting this morning? If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it. It sent shivers all of our body. You want to go and watch it, and you want to go and take lessons from there. See you again 8 o'clock tomorrow when we return here. But remember that the Tuesday life is every 2 o'clock, every Tuesday. We're here forever and ever. Amen. Thank you so much, everybody, and do have an amazing, amazing rest of the day.
Common phrases in the inner circle. Let's go.
You're coming for an inner circle webinar and you're not with your yellow blanket with red trimmings. Is that even a joke?
Oh, I'm running and I'm not looking back because 10,000 lions are chasing me.
I have watched all the webinars, but today, Coach came with a bazooka.
Even with my humility agbada, I still collected.
If you're not in the ark, you better enter now because flood na bia o.
In the inner circle, we dey walk and they show.
CIP police is coming for you. There's no how-ness here.
You definitely cannot relate because you are not in the yard.
If you are not in the yard,
why not?